Sticky Fishy Fishing.
Yo, what up guys? This is Sticky Fishy Fishing. Welcome to another tackle talk. In this one, we're going to be talking about catching snapper on soft plastic lures. Alright guys, let's get it started. Alright guys, we'll start off with the rods first. This is the rod here that you would have seen me use in most of my videos, fishing soft plastics. This one here is a Samaki Archer Lure Special 701 SH, 10 to 20 pound. This rod here is a fast action rod, real stiff rod, good for pulling those snapper up out of the bottom, very strong. And on that I have a Daiwa Kinks 4000 with 20 pound sufix 832 braid. And I usually run a 20 pound fluorocarbon leader on this. So that's my first setup. That's what I usually use fishing for the bigger fish. And I recently just purchased this. This is a new setup I got. This one is TT rods, black mamba, 4 to 8 kilo. And on that I have a Daiwa Phantom Hyper 4000 with 15 pound platypus bionic X9 braid with a 20 pound leader also. This is also a fast action rod, real super light rod, very good for throwing plastics, cast the mole. The 15 pound platypus braid is good because it doesn't break to 25 pound, so you get to use a lighter braid, get a lot more distance in your cast. So this will probably be the setup that I use mostly now. And this one here is the light setup. This is a pryml D16 vapor, 7 foot, 2 to 5 kilo. On that I have a direct seller 2500, and I also have platypus braid on this one. This is 10 pound platypus bionic X9 braid, which breaks at 20 pound. And on this one I usually run a 10 pound leader, 12 or 14, just depending on the day. When the fish are real quiet and they're not biting on the 20 pound setup, you go down to the light setup and throw smaller plastics, and you got more chance of getting a bite, and good for catching those pan sized snapper when you want to feed using the lighter setup. This is also a fast taper rod as well, plenty of power in it. So they're my rods that I use. Alright guys, let's run through some leaders that I use. This is the one that I used when I caught the big snapper in the last video. This is a unitika 20 pound fluorocarbon, real strong fluorocarbon line, super strong. I usually use that when I go 20 pound, or the Zuri HD carbon fluorocarbon. It's a pink line, use that in 20 pound. Also sunline siglon FC fluorocarbon in 20 pound. When I go to lighter leaders, like on the lighter rod, or when the fish are shy, I'll go to a sunline siglon FC 14 pound, or a sunline FC rock 14 pound, and I also use this in 10 pound. So that's the leaders I like to use, fluorocarbon leaders. They all work good. While we're talking about leaders, I like to join my leaders with a FG knot, and I like to have a real long leader on, just for those shy fish. So I'll have the FG knot there just above the reel, and it goes up all the way through, back down to the first runner. It's where I have it tied on. So a real long leader. You can just use a rod length, but I find using that longer leader, I've been catching more fish. Alright guys, jig heads I like to use are Berkley Stealth Nitro. What I mostly use is a 1/4 ounce with a Frio hook on plastics, 5 inch, 6 inch and 7 inch. I find that's the perfect weight when you throwing plastics. Works good in all depths. I also use these ones, same jig heads, 1/4 ounce in a 1/0 hook if I'm using smaller plastics like a 3 inch to 4 inch. Mostly a 4 inch. I usually don't go any smaller than a 4 inch. And then I have some 3/8 Frios that I use in deeper water, but I barely ever use those. The 1/4 ounce jig heads I'll use anywhere from 5 meters of water up to 20 meters of water. I find they're good around that 10 to 15 meters is a good place where to get snapper, and that's a perfect weight jig head for it. If you're fishing 20 meters to 30 meters, you probably want to go up to a 3/8. But you can also go lighter to in the shallow water if there's not much current, slow drift. You can go down to a 1/6 ounce, 1/8. Also, just to get that slower drop. Because I find when you chuck out the bigger snapper, we'll get it as the plastic's first dropping down. So they're the jig heads I like to use. Also, another good jig head is the Atomic Seeker Frio heavy 1/4 ounce, and also the Zmans in the 1/4 ounce 5/0 hook. They also work well. Alright, plastics. In the last video I caught the big snapper on one of these. Berkley Gulp 6 inch jerk shad in the pink shine colour. There it is there. Very good lure. Used it the other day in around the wash and got a 50 centimetre one on it too, but works very good. I usually rig that on the Frio hook, 6 inch, so that's a good plastic. But any colour in the 6 inch, just whatever colour. All colours seem to work on snapper, but I've just seemed to like the white and pink ones myself. Confident in using it, so I just keep using it. Another plastic that I always use and catch heaps of fish on it when I drop down to a smaller plastic, a 4 inch, is the Berkley Gulp 4 inch jig and grub. This one here is the barbecue chicken colour, but I also like this in the pink shine too, the white and pink. Don't have any at the moment, I've used them all, but the barbecue chicken works good. That catches plenty of fish. Another good colour in it is the nuclear chicken, and also the banana prawn colour works good in the 4 inch grub, and I'll rig that up on the 1/4 ounce 1/0 jig head. But you can also put them on a Frio as well, but they do work a lot better on a 1/0 hook. While we're on the 4 inch plastics, another good one is Berkley Gulp 4 inch minnow in the lime tiger glow, just like a smaller jerk shad bait. And also the pilchard colour works good. Then going back up to the bigger lures, the Berkley Gulp 5 inch grub in the mackerel colour, got a 60 centimetre one on them. They work good, they work really good. Also the pink grub, also in the white, works well too. Like I said, most colours will work in the Gulp. Another good plastic is a 5 inch jerk shad, just a bit smaller than the 6 inch. Works good. So you got the 5 inch, 6 inch, and then your 7 inch plastics. Even in the 5 inch jerk shad, nuclear chicken, pink shine in the smaller one, the glow, which is just a white one, and your yakka snack. They're good colours. Another good one in the 5 inch is also the garlicker. Then going up to the 7 inch, you got the garlic is a good colour, anchovy, yeah, glitter pink, which is this one there. That's a good colour in the 7 inch. But you can also get 9 inch jerk shads now in the Berkley Gulp, but I haven't tried them yet, but they're a real big one. They'll be good for the big fish. And another good one in the pink shine colour is a 6 inch grub. So you got the 4 inch grubs, 5 inch, and the 6 inch grubs. Jerk shad, 5 inch, 6 inch, 7 inch, and 9 inch. But that's it. That's all the sizes. Any colour will work. Just pick a colour that you like, stick to it. Try the pink shine one that I use, it works well. Mostly any colour will work. Different colours will work on different days. but it's all about just experiment and trying them out. Alright, we'll have a quick run through some other plastic that work good. Start off with the Zman. This one here is a 4-inch scented paddler Z in the bleeding banana. That works good, good little plastic. Also got it in the pearl colour. Then going up to your bigger paddler Z's, the 5-inch works good. That's a Ralph's shad. Another good colour is a red bone. Real good colour in it is the coconut ice. That's a very popular colour. Works good in the 5-inch. And then you have the Streak Z curly tails 5-inch. That's a Nuke Chicken Glow. They're a good little grub tail plastic. And your Z-Man scented jerk shad in the 5-inch. Nuclear Chicken. And whatever one have I used? Motor oil. But that's also good. Z-Mans are good to use when you're using Berkley gulps and they keep just getting chewed the tail off. Put on a Z-Man. They last for ages. Some people prefer to use the Z-Mans over gulps. I prefer gulps, but Z-Mans still work. You got the 7-inch coconut ice, which is a real popular soft plastic for snapper. I just got these ones, haven't tried them yet, but it's the right colour I like, white and pink, so I'll be definitely giving them a go. Some other plastics that I've caught snapper on that you probably wouldn't heard of is McCarthy's. These are from South Africa. These are the 4-inch jerk minnow, pink pell. Use them, caught snapper on them. And this one is a McCarthy's 3-inch paddle tail in the white pell. Used that once, hooked a massive snapper on it, busted me off. So it goes to show, most plastics will work on snapper. If they see it, they're hungry, they'll eat it. And I've used this one, Daiwa bait junkie 4-inch grub in the pink glow UV. Caught a few on that. And this one is the 5-inch jerk shad in the pink glow UV. Haven't caught any on this yet, but a lot of people use them and catch fish. They should work well. And also got some in the same size in the banana split. These ones I picked up at BCF for $2 in a clearance sale, but I haven't tried them, 5-inch. And I also got some in a clearance sale, the 7-inch, which I'm yet to try, but they do work. You see people use them and catch fish. So there's a few other plastics to use. Alright guys, also to go to plastics, these are some scents I like to use on plastics that ain't scented. Even after the scent rubs off a bit on the gulp, you can still put scent on them. Like this one here, the Berkley gulp gel. It's good after you've been using the gulp for a while. Loses a bit of its smell. You rub a bit of that on it. Another one that I use that you probably haven't heard of is a Big John's Tuna Rapid scent. That works well. And another scent that you probably would have heard of is the sack scent. For snapper I use the crab and abalone one, but I also got the prawn, bloodworm and wasabi that I use on brim. But for snapper I like the crab and abalone one. So there's some scents to put on your plastics. Alright guys, the areas you want to fish and where I like to fish is what I do is when I go out early in the morning, first thing I go out, I fish right in close around the rocks, just fish the washes, cast plastics in the wash. As the light comes up, I'll move out further onto the shallow reefs and fish anywhere between 5 and 20 meters of water. In the afternoon I'll do the same thing. I'll go out, fish those shallow reefs, 5 to 20 meters of water, throw plastics. Last light I'll come in and I'll throw some plastics around the wash. And when I fish a wash, I just throw it right in close to the rocks, let it sink down, and then just let it just sit there in the wash, give it a couple of flicks, and just slowly reel it back to the boat, cast it back out, throw it back in. Most of the fish will hit it as it goes down, just flooding around into the wash. Just try that, move on to the next headland, just fish all the areas. I mostly just fish the headlands that stick right out. I'll go to one headland, fish there, then I'll move down to the next headland, fish that. And once it gets a little bit lighter, I'll move out to those bit deeper reefs, like out about 500 meters, kilometers out, a kilometer out, bit further, and that's where I just do drifts over the top of the reefs. What I do is I just pull up short of my mark, work out which way I'm going to drift, stop, drift over it, and then once I finish it, I'll do a big loop around and come back around. Don't drive over the spot where you're fishing, do a loop around so you don't spook the fish, stop again, drift over and cast. Even when you first get your spot, don't just drive over and see if there's any fish. Just stop short and just drift over it and throw lures and see if they're there. Then I'll come back around. If I didn't get nothing there, I'll come back around and I'll stop over here, drift this edge of the reef, come back around, maybe go over here, drift this side of the reef. And what you do is when you're drifting, you throw ahead of your drift, cast it out, let it sink down. Most of the big fish will hit it on the drop. If nothing hits it, let it hit the bottom. Then just slowly, as you're drifting towards the lure, just slowly reel in and just keep that line just a little bit slack but almost tight, just so enough so if something hits it and you feel that tick in the line, bang, you can set the hook in it. And just reel it in, and once it gets close to the boat, burn it up, throw it back out. And all you got to do is just keep casting, bring it in, keep casting. Like I said, most of the big ones will hit it on the drop down. And I just like to fish those shallow reefs, anywhere where there's a lot of rock, weed, patches of sand and boulders where the reefs go up like that, where you see it on your sounder, anywhere from 5 meters to 20 meters, and just drift over it and go back around, do another drift. You don't get nothing, try a couple of drifts, go to another spot and try it, because if the snapper there, you're either going to get them or you're not going to get them. So there's no point keep fishing unless you know you're going to get them. And another good key is, if you got a real good spot, you know there's snapper there, fish it on the tide change. You want to be there on that tide change. That's a good time to catch the snapper. So if you got a real good spot, make sure you hit that spot on the tide change and you're in with a good chance. So yeah, just fish those inshore reefs. Like I said, 5 to 20 meters. I find 10 to 15 meters is a good area to catch the fish when I'm out there drifting on those shallow reefs. And yeah, other than that, that's all you got to do is just either fish the washes around the rocks, go out around the islands if you got islands. If you know anywhere there's bommies under the water, that sometimes when it's rough you'll see waves breaking on the bommies, you go back when you can fish it in the boat when it's not breaking on it and fish around the edge of that where it drops off. The snapper will sit on the back of those. It'll be like, could be like 3 meters, and then down the back of it will drop down to like 15 meters. Drifting along the back of those is good. Just anywhere of those inshore reefy areas, you'll catch snapper, around the washes, all that kind of stuff. And all you want to do is just drift, keep casting. Around the washes you can spot lock and stuff like that. If you find a good spot where there's a lot of snapper congregating on the reef where you do a drift and you got electric motor, you could even just hit the spot lock there and cast around and see if you can pick up a few fish like that. But yeah, I just mostly just drift along. But fish any of those areas. Snapper will be where there's a lot of structure and stuff. That's where they like to feed, around that kelp, rock, white boulders, sand, stuff like that. So it's pretty easy, guys. You just got to keep casting and see if you can catch them. Okay guys, if you like that video, hit the like button, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Sticky Fishy Station.